right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another new episode of the Last Wave Podcast. We deal with topics such as UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, conspiracies, a little nerd stuff, and pretty much everything else under the paranormal umbrella. I am actually joined here today with a part-time co-host, is Buster.
Yo, what's up? This is Buster.
So we're going to go over just get into some of the stuff that's going on in the big news. I mean, we had the debate, which actually I didn't watch. Did you watch any of it?
No.
Okay,
no,
good.
I wasn't a part of that.
Pretty much everything I've heard from it, we didn't miss nothing. If anybody lost, it was us. That's what I've been hearing. So, but with the news that came out right after that, is now Trump's got COVID, apparently. How you feel about that?
I don't know. It seems like it's either too good to be true or it's just some kind of like assassination attempt. There's definitely more than meets the eye, as it usually is.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely probably something going on behind the scenes with this. Some people are saying it's to get out of doing another debate, which I mean, apparently I heard today that the guy that's supposed to moderate the next debate was a Joe Biden intern, apparently. So I wouldn't want to go up there and try to work with two people that are on the same team, which is
Yeah,
basically what he did the other night.
yeah,
So
that's dirty, of
yeah,
course. But that's the thing. It's like, of course, this election's coming up very quickly now, but I do not suspect that these parties are going to play fair to do whatever they got to do. And I mean, I'm prepared for the worst mentally, of course.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to hope for the best because that's honestly, it's 2020. I mean, we could have aliens, in November. We could have meteors. It literally could be anything. I mean, you've got them trying to push more vaccines and they're wanting to do clinical trials, and apparently they've been doing clinical trials in Africa, from what I've seen on some websites, and apparently it's causing polio outbreaks.
And this
Yeah,
isn't the first time.
yeah,
And multiple different vaccines they've used has had the same effect
hmm,
in multiple different regions of time.
yeah. I mean, it does seem that there's a correlation, and I thought it was very telling that like none of the Black Lives Matter or anything really posted anything about that. I haven't seen nothing about these poor people in Africa. They're basically just being guinea pigs
Oh
for
yeah.
Bill Gates.
No, it was mostly because that they are their subjects and these are the subjects that they have to play with in America.
Hmm.
And it's sad, really, but it is the truth.
Yeah, I mean, you look like I don't know what they're going to have on the news if Trump doesn't win. Are they actually going to report on legit stuff around the world?
Well, the crazy thing I've heard is like, for instance, if this were an assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life, it would be Donald Trump. He is out of the question. He dies theoretically, and then that means that Joe Biden wouldn't have a person to run against.
Hmm.
Therefore, the presidency would run back and revert to the Speaker of the House, which is
Nancy
Nancy
Pelosi.
Pelosi.
Ugh, probably one of the worst people in the world.
So
So,
it's like that could have been their plan all along.
mm,
You know, they were just they knew they couldn't win by a vote, so they would have to undermine it.
yeah. Well, I mean, it almost seems like with the Biden craziness and Trump craziness, it's like there's no good way to go. There's no good way to vote, and it seems like they're like trying to lose at this point.
I mean, I've seen, I had seen a lot of promise in this Joe Jorgensen
Yeah, yeah.
character, but then I've also heard a lot of people say that she's also in on it too.
Mm,
Which I mean, like there is no right answer that's going to be given to you. You have to find this
hmm,
answer, the path, and
mm,
that's what makes it so difficult to undersee the illusion that's always being pushed in front of our eyes.
yeah. It's hard for a lot of people to see behind the curtain. I mean, and then once you do, it's impossible not to look and not to see what's going on. So I think that's in some respect that's why a lot of people choose not to, because then they would have to acknowledge it. They would have to be concerned with the amount of crap that's going on in the world.
Well, there's the saying, ignorance is bliss,
Hmm.
and I totally believe it.
Hmm. Very, very true.
But
So
it's like, do you just get blindsided by the ultimate absolution, or I mean, do you face it head
mhm,
on when it comes?
yeah, I mean, from what I'm hearing, I know I've told you about people like Jordan Maxwell before. A occultist, been researching it for basically a decade. His life to like 50 years. And from what I'm hearing, he's expecting something massive in October, and then 12 to 16 months of turmoil after that. I don't know what that means. He's being kind of vague on it. It's more of an occult, astrological alignments, that kind of stuff. It's edge stuff.
Some
So,
people would say that this is the tribulations.
hmm I mean, it certainly would seem like. I mean, this is obviously not in our lifetime have we seen anything crazy like this. So it, and people are asking me, what is going on? Why are these people so crappy? Why is this happening? And it's not like it's not people at this point. Like this is like some dark, like old stuff that's like going on here with like the children stuff, and they're trying to make pedophilia illegal, and all the royals and CEOs are stepping away and stepping down. Like this is like some dark stuff. This isn't like just people being crappy people.
No, like the way I understand it, like literally everything has been done so precisely at the exact time it was meant to happen due to ritualistic fashion.
Hmm.
And this is all trickling down from the top of the pyramid.
Yeah.
And we're just seeing the effects in this timeline,
Hmm.
I would imagine.
Yeah, and that's certainly possible. I mean, you look at like old occult people like Aleister Crowley and that kind of stuff, and they are known for their large scale rituals. Like they were involved in World War II and certain symbols that helped, America. Actually, going to do an episode on that and how World War II was fought with black magic. So I mean, you can even go back to then when we were supposed to be, this God fearing, country. We were this
America.
force, yeah. And even then, World War II was subversively fought with rituals, you know. So I mean, I think that's definitely something that could be it could be going on today. Um, I don't know where it's going to lead. I don't think anybody does. Um, I do know we chatted personally about the 5G stuff, and I have been seeing the commercials that it's like up and ready to go. So I guess they didn't get laid off during the COVID.
Oh no. So that's the thing. I've been stumbling upon this information that this 5G technology is going to react with the vaccine, and it's also going to play a major part in the chemtrails that have been so easily forgotten about throughout our lives,
Hmm.
so easily overlooked. And they're filling the air with all kinds of these metals that are polluting our air and our water and our food and the ground and the soil. Like we're slowly losing the ability to farm.
Hmm.
And for what purpose? It's almost like they're terraforming
Hmm.
the world. For what?
Yeah, I never thought about it like that. I guess that's pretty much what's happening. And I mean, I guess that is true. They are kind of terraforming, changing the atmosphere, and the whole weather modifications have been
Yeah,
happening for years
they will
now.
be controlling the weather like completely within
Hmm.
the next 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I firmly believe that. We were flooding trails with, gosh, what is it? Some kind of dioxide by spraying it in the clouds in like Nam. We were like flooding Viet Cong
And that is
trails.
that and Agent Orange came.
Yeah, so I mean, there's all kinds of stuff
But
that
none
that
of
they
it's
can do.
natural.
No, there's none of it's natural. Whatever they're taking away from us, whatever they haven't taken away from us, we can't do legally. You can't get water in a bucket. You can't trap rainwater in some places. Obviously, you have to have licenses to fish and hunt. So I
But
mean,
what really intrigued me was the smart dust.
no, elaborate on that a little
The
bit.
smart dust. It's all that they've been apparently dropping this in the chemtrails as well, and this smart dust is nanotechnology,
Hmm.
and its sole purpose is to infiltrate the DNA of the human subject, and when it reacts to the 5G, because it's built in coexistence, that it will react in a way that it could potentially like either control us or make us sick.
Well, I'd say it's certainly possible. I mean, not a kill switch, but basically an on switch is what the 5G would do. Is just activate any of that stuff that's in us. I mean, that's what's kind of scaring people about the vaccine is, what else are they going to try to add into that mixture to put into? I mean, obviously that's far in conspiracy stuff. Like they're modifying our bodies to use 5G against us. I mean, that's
like
but still
the DNA
modification. Yeah. And what's crazy, the whole crazy thing about that is, that is far out conspiracy stuff, but it's also believable. Like that's what makes this whole thing bad is like when people are like the royals are hunting kids.
The royals are reptilians.
Yeah, I mean the sad thing is you're like, well, they might be. There's none of this seems off the table anymore, especially in 2020.
Really, you know how CERN is. Like you've heard about CERN. I mean, like, what are y'all attempting to do? Like, what is the point? And why is there a statue of Shiva out in the front courtyard, which is the goddess of
destruction, death and
destruction and recreation.
So, I mean, there's, like I said, I think we can agree that there's, I wouldn't even say a deep state because I feel like it goes more than that. Like there's some kind of group that basically controls everything.
Oh yeah, they sit around this table, like the Order of 13 or whatever their high end order is that we will never understand, and they just play a game of Monopoly and fucking Risk and.
What's with us?
Yeah, it's literally that's it. We're just a live action version of what they're playing.
Yeah, and I mean you can look at even current events. Like this actually kind of came to me. Like a week ago, just looking at all the riots and the protests and stuff like that. I got to thinking, that's what we do whenever we're trying to overthrow like a Gaddafi, a Saddam. Like well, I guess the Obama administration basically created ISIS. Like they paid these moderate rebels, they armed them, they paid them, they gave them whatever they needed to overthrow the government, and then they just kind of went crazy and started doing all this other stuff.
Right, so they armed them to basically create a war.
Yeah.
To create something to fight.
And if you look at our streets and you hear all these stories about, like, I heard about a U-Haul truck the other day pulling up to one of these protests with shields in it. Like, you see where people had taken pictures of, like, bricks that were laid out for people to use against the cops. Like, it's all planned
and stage.
Paid for, yeah. And then another episode I have coming up relates to the California fires from 2018 and how they make a perfect line.
Same thing with this gender reveal.
Yeah, the gender reveal.
And it just so happens that it stops at Mexico and ends at Canada.
Yeah. I've seen a bunch of videos of people like ordering people off their property, people setting the fires, people running from forest fires, like allegedly having started them. I mean, apparently, and I haven't seen it with these fires, but I know with the ones in 2018, there's this thing that was the projected like high energy rail like tram system that they want to put in California, and it was like a direct match for the fires that happened. So instead of having to buy all these rich homes and buy all these people out of their homes, they just burn it, condemn the land, and was it eminent domain? They basically just take the land because you can't use it.
And then it's turned into government property.
And they just turn it into government property. They make a tramway, whatever they want to do, instead of paying all these millions of dollars to these people.
They're just taking the rules and undermining them all.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is the overall thing to take away from it is anything that's right, righteous, or makes sense is gone. It's just gone. It makes no sense.
Nothing is sacred anymore.
No, nothing is sacred. It's a crazy world. We've got a couple months left in 2020, and I can't even begin to imagine where we're going to go. If Trump having COVID is the only October surprise, I'd be very surprised.
There is 2 full moons this month.
Yeah, I think something is coming this month. Like I think it's going to be
Something crazy is going to happen this month.
It just feels like we've been building to something. So I guess all we can really do is wait and see. Um, I think that pretty much covers us on current events. We're at 15 minutes for this episode, which is pretty good. It's a fairly solid episode. I think we'll probably end this one right here. But yeah, that's pretty much it on current events. I think we pretty much touched on everything: the COVID, the fires, the Trump, COVID, all that stuff. Oh, one thing I do want to bring up is this whole coin shortage and all this shenanigans. You know as well as I do that the goal is to get to cashless and to have no cash. That way everything's trackable.
No, well, they're trying to get rid of all the currency.
Yeah, and I mean there's no way we have a coin shortage unless people are just gathering up pennies and dimes and hoarding them.
Don't think that would be the case.
No,
I mean, even though they would potentially hold much more value than paper ever would.
Yeah.
But what do I know?
Well, see, that's if you look at other countries that have gone cashless, like I believe India was one of the first ones. I mean that would be scary. I mean, they basically the government came out and said, you guys have a week to put anything like over, I don't know, using our terms, say anything over $20 in the bank, or it won't be worth anything. So you had people lined up outside banks for weeks, like holding their life savings just to get it in the bank, so it would still be currency. So you basically say that happened here with all the riots and the protests. You'd have people lining up outside banks,
people getting robbed
left and right. And if we did do that, and we did go cashless, which I think if we are going to go cashless, it's going to be, I've been saying it's around Black Friday.
That way everybody would be so tempted to
Yeah. Well, so I think they'll say we have an uptick in cases of COVID after Black Friday. And it's because everyone's used all this money, and they'll be like, money's too infectious. We got to get rid of it. So we're going to promote cashless. So they'll go to that. And if we do go cashless, that means the government can track everything. There's no person-to-person sales, no flea markets, no yard sales, nothing. It's all. I mean, I don't necessarily prescribe to the end times, but I mean, it's pretty cut and dry market piece. Like, you can't buy and sell.
Yeah.
If you say something against the government, something they don't like, they can cut your card off, cut your chip off, whatever. Easy peasy. You and your family go hungry.
Ridiculous.
So we'll definitely have to see where that goes. We'll be keeping a close eye on it, and throw any kind of reports that we get onto the show. I think that definitely does cover it as far as current events. Do you got anything else, Bisman?
Wake everybody up as much as you can.
Yeah.
For there is no going back.
Yeah, try to save as many as we can. That's all we can do. But all right, thank you, Buster, for joining me. I know we got a couple more episodes to knock out this evening, so that should be good fun. We're gonna end this one right here. Thanks to everybody for listening. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Check us out on Patreon.com, Facebook pages, the blog, just basically everywhere. But thanks for listening. You can give a thank you to everybody.
I appreciate everybody for giving me the opportunity to come here and spat some knowledge at you, and just try to keep your head above the water and try to be the light in the darkness while we still have the chance.
Yep. Head on a swivel, right?
HOS.
That's right. All right, everybody. Appreciate you.
Peace.
Catch you next time.